All right, I was going to start my report by singing, but I won't ruin the spotlight, so I'll just settle for simply wishing Tyngsborough a happy 216th birthday. On February 23rd, 1809, Tyngsborough became its own town after separating from Dunstable. So, Ed stole my thunder earlier, but I'm sad to share that today is this meeting is Kat Foster's last meeting with the Select Board. Kat has accepted the position of Assistant Town Manager and Finance Director next door in the town of Dracut. Kat joined the team in April of 2023, shortly after my departure, and quickly took over managing our procurement, public records requests, work with the Commission on Disability, and of course the capital budget. When I returned in September, the transition was no doubt made easier by the fact that Kat was already up to speed, and made the transition smooth. Sorry, I'm flustered. Wednesday is Kat's last day here in Tyngsborough, and we wish her the best in Dracut. Moving forward, I'll be working with senior leadership and with the Select Board to identify the best path forward to fill that position. But we will certainly miss Kat, and we wish her the best next door in Dracut. She's got her work cut out for her, that's for sure. Her first budget presentation won't be anything like this one, I'm just saying.
Good luck.
I also want to congratulate Jason Rubino, who graduated from the Police Academy on Friday, February 14th, and began his field training program as a police officer for Tyngsborough this week. Officer Rubino is following in the footsteps of his father, longtime and well-respected Tyngsborough police officer Charles Rubino. With the appointment of Officer Rubino, the department now has only one remaining vacant position. The Recreation Committee is excited to announce a grand opening event planned for Ironwood Park on Saturday, June 7th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For those that aren't familiar, this is the land that was formerly housed the Tyngsborough Country Club, but was donated to the town as a part of the Toll Brothers development. What is more exciting is they've partnered with the Health Department and the Board of Health to host their event at the same time as their annual health fair. So now both events will happen at the same time at Ironwood Park, again on Saturday, June 7th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Last week, the Attorney General's office notified us that the amendments to the town's general bylaws relative to beaching watercraft along the shores of Lake Muscuppick were approved. The final step is a review by the Director of Law Enforcement for the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. Once they've approved it, it'll be added to the town's general bylaws. I've also shared the adopted bylaw with the town of Dracut for consideration on their end so that we have the same rule in both towns, given that the lake sits in between both communities. I've already spoiled this one, but pretend I'm telling you for the first time. Chief Russell, Assistant Chief Sands, and I met with the project team at La Valley Brenzinger on Wednesday of last week to review the progress on studying the Winslow School parcel as a potential site for a new fire station. I'm happy to report that they've concluded that a fire station could in fact be developed on the site. During the meeting last week, Chief Russell provided them with some feedback on the conceptual plan that they provided. Their task now is to provide us with an early conceptual design of the building on that site, give us a conceptual budget for construction so we know what we're getting ourselves into, and then most importantly, give us a cost estimate simply for the design phase. We will incorporate the cost of creating the bid documents and managing the construction in a future request for construction funding. But, this project, I think, is a long time coming, and even just getting to this step is certainly positive. We'll present a final product for your review at the meeting on March 10th. Last week, we learned that State Auditor Diana DiZoglio and her office issued a notice to the town of Wrentham confirming that, in their opinion, the MBTA Communities Act represented an unfunded mandate on cities and towns in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 29, Section 27C. In short, that law prohibits the legislature from passing bills that would require a city or town to incur costs unless the same bill includes the funding to cover those costs. In this case, the MBTA Communities Act did not include any funding within the bill. The letter indicated that the auditor's office was now moving into a financial impact analysis and report back on their estimated financial impact on municipalities for compliance. This is a tricky one. It appears that what they're looking at is the actual cost to a municipality to develop the zoning and bring it to town meeting. If that is the case, Tyngsborough likely has no claim because we used state-funded technical assistance to get us to that point. Mm-hmm. But we'll follow the updates. There's some talk about whether or not it could cover the costs of future development, but that's kind of a hard one to spell out. So I'll keep the board appraised if and when that goes any further. Kudos to our health department and the town clerk's office on their first well-attended rabies clinic and dog registration clinic, which was hosted this past weekend at the Center for Active Living. As the board knows, we've been working hard across all departments to enhance our communication with residents, and so on that front, I'm happy to share that you can now find the town clerk's office on Facebook. They'll be using that page to keep the town updated on all things happening in the office, especially around elections, vital records, and much more. It's been about a year since the board approved a community group program for use of the Center for Active Living, and so I wanted to share a quick update. It's been working very well. There's been no complaints, no issues, our staff are happy, the Council on Aging is happy, and the groups that are using it are happy. There's currently 6 groups that are registered, and each one uses the building with varying frequency. The original policy, because we weren't sure what to expect, limited the window for a booking to 60 days, and one of the things that Jackie and I have talked about, now that we're starting to see kind of more regular use, it may be beneficial for the board to consider extending that, with the understanding that events hosted by the Council on Aging take priority. So I expect that at some point in late March or early April, Jackie and I will be asking you to revisit that policy just to make it a little bit more friendly to the groups that are seeking to use it. And then I'll just note, David kind of hit on this, but the Department of Revenue's Division of Local Services was here in Tyngsborough last week at our request for a regular check-in. Everything was in order. We had a very productive meeting, and we are working on finalizing the fiscal year 24 audit, which we expect will find no issues.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. I will open it up to the board for questions or comments. We'll start on my right this time. Mr. Cohane. I like to mix it up, keep you guys on your toes.
First of all, I hate to see you leave. You've done don't get an eye shot of me, I guess. Done a great job. Appreciate all the hard work you've done. It's always hard to see somebody leave, but you got quite a challenge in front of you. But honestly, it's been great working with you. And you just want to let the residents know that I have the utmost faith, and as Ed Smith said, Colin's the best, and Jackie over there is also the best. We have incredible department heads and town employees here, and I'm sure under Colin's leadership, we'll pull through. As hard as a task it might be, the void that you'll be leaving, but very confident that we can move forward in a very great way. A couple other things I wanted to say. I also want to congratulate Jason Rubino. His father worked here, and he's following his father's footsteps. That's awesome. Hopefully I'll get a chance to congratulate him in person sometime. And then the recreational committee, we'll kind of explain what exactly the event's going to be, but it's going to kind of be a grand opening on June 7th, as Colin said. I am more than looking forward to that. I can't wait to play every game that we've implemented over there, except volleyball is not my game, but all the rest I can do a decent job with. But I'm very looking forward to, watching the community embrace this and get out there and play. I'll volunteer to give lessons in pickleball, as I'm sure Caroline will also over there, and it's going to be a fantastic venue for Tyngsborough. And that's it.
Select Person Gilfus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to not acknowledge that Kat's leaving, and instead ask about the rabies clinic and dog registration. Any idea how many people, you say well attended, do you know how many people showed?
55.
Really?
A majority, that's the combination of dog licenses and rabies vaccines that were administered, and my understanding is more than 85% were cats. We did have one runaway cat. It was located safely in the activities room, but for a first time, certainly not bad turnout at all.
I missed an opportunity there. It's very clear. Okay.
Yes.
I look forward to attending the next one. Thank you.
Mr. Schneider.
I just have a question on the bullet point with the state auditor opining on the MBTA communities. That is, I guess, that's her opinion.
Correct.
Right? And I know that she and the legislature have butted heads somewhat in the past. And I don't know how that will play out, right? I imagine they may push back on her some way, mean, or fashion. But my bigger concern is, will this then give impetus to a lot of other towns to say, you know what, we're not going to pass it.
Certainly, the way that law works, it is just the auditor's opinion. The auditor's office is not a legal office, although I'm sure she has lawyers on staff. In the event of a unfunded mandate, municipalities have the ability to seek relief through Superior Court, and my guess is that Rentham and potentially some other communities, once they finish the financial analysis, will go through. What is unclear is what the scope of that financial impact would be. Again, in Tyngsborough, we've had 0 serious inquiries for development on any of those parcels, and I think that has to do with kind of how we adopted the law. And we did not incur any general fund budget obligations to bring the warrant article to town meeting because it was funded by technical assistance grants. Certainly, there are probably other communities that aren't in the same boat. It will be interesting to see what happens, but it is not done just because the auditor has issued an opinion. It would need to be challenged in Superior Court. We've seen the Supreme Court of Massachusetts say that it's constitutional, but they were never asked the question about the unfunded mandate. So it's kind of a wait and see, though it'll be status quo in Tyngsborough until
Yeah. All right, thank
anything
you.
further shakes out.
Good?
Oh, and
Yeah.
thank you, Kat. It's been a pleasure working with you. I won't be as sappy as Ron Cohen, but thank you.
Mr. Moran?
Good luck, Godspeed, all that good stuff. The only question I have is really around the Winslow demolition, the Winslow project. So, if there would be a new department there, obviously there would be demolition of a building because you can't really retain any piece of that structure, maybe, except for maybe a facade of it. Is that a correct statement?
Yes and no. One of the things that we wanted because there's been no formal decision by town meeting about the Winslow School, we wanted the architects to say, one, can a fire station fit there, assuming the building is completely gone? And two, can the fire station be built there, assuming the full building or a portion of the building stays? The answer to both is yes, which means that in order to get the design funding, we don't need to yet decide what to do on the site. There had been preliminary conversations about, is there a way to incorporate a portion of the Winslow School into a new fire station? Is it impossible? No. Is it dramatically cost prohibitive? Yes. You would be taking a building that predates most building code and having to make it a level 4 building, which for builders will make sense. For me, is just a word. But also its location on the site isn't ideal for our ability to potentially have drive-through bays. So nothing is impossible, but the most realistic options are that either the building is completely removed and the fire station is built somewhere on that site, or the building stays intact and yet a new building is built somewhere on the site. Again, an issue that doesn't need to be litigated before we get the design funding. Something tells me we're a few years away from construction funding, so certainly there's time to figure out what to do with the physical building.
Right, and there still is a large price tag to that
Correct.
project.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I had, yep.
Another great update. I look forward to it every other week. It's
Thank you.
amazing. Kat, I'll say the same thing to you that I said to Colin a couple of years ago when we sat down for coffee and he told me he was leaving. I wish you all the luck in the world. I know you do great. As much as it pains us to see very talented staff leave us, we know that it's going to happen, and we would never want to stand in the way of a great opportunity. So it has been a pleasure to work with you and to get to know you, and we wish you much success. Just don't take any of our people.
I don't think it's in the budget.
Other than that, I don't have any further comments. I think the board has done a great job of identifying a variety of areas that I think are important to highlight on here, and I look forward to see how many of these things progress.